Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sort of Silly Point. Thank you to those who reached out asking about my next video. I was away on travels and haven't been well since I returned, but still managed to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch the much anticipated match between Pakistan and India. Apologies if I don't sound like myself. Don't start thinking it's AI generated or something. I get that so many times. What's up with that? And before I forget, thanks to those who shared videos and photos live from the Dubai Cricket Stadium with me during the game. That was absolutely lovely. All right, let's get right into it, shall we? I hope it's painfully clear to the cricketing community that there is no rivalry anymore. It's not even close. Pakistan's level of skill was so far below India's that the term rivalry doesn't hold up anymore. Let's not kid ourselves, this was hardly a contest. From the moment the match started, it was a mismatch. In fact, from the moment the squad was announced, there was no hope. Pakistan got bowled out yet again. There was no fight, no intent, no energy, and the game seemed excruciatingly long with no real contest, or it was just because I wasn't feeling well. It's hard to watch a team fail so consistently without seeing any change over the last 3 consecutive tournaments. It must be clear to Pakistani fans that this is a below mediocre team filled with average players with limited desires to grow, selected by unanswerable selectors, and just a big joke. Pakistan's level of skill and talent is nowhere near the way teams are performing in the ODI format. And I'm not referring to India here alone. Look at Australia coming out without their main pacers, and Travis Head and Steve Smith getting out cheaply, yet still winning against England. New Zealand's consistent performance is nothing short of praise despite issues that they have. For so long now, Babar Azam's innings are a source of nerves and anxiety for the viewers. Will he look uncomfortable making a few runs and get out, or score a 90 ball 60? Nerves were there, but he played some decent shots and looked like he was coming back to his rhythm after an atrocious innings against New Zealand the other night. But then, as per usual, Babar didn't make much of a start and got out too early in the game. His score doesn't impress anyone when we talk about high pressure situations. Babar has yet to single-handedly lead Pakistan out of a tough spot. His performance against India wasn't what was needed. He's like the spoiled youngest child in the family, always getting praise just for showing up. When will he take charge and deliver when it matters? On the other hand, Virat Kohli, who hasn't been in the best form, looked composed from the get-go. And those who like to compare Kohli with Babar, please stop. Please stop, because it's just embarrassing. The only way to compare the two is by saying Virat Kohli scores against Pakistan like Babar Azam did against teams like Zimbabwe or Nepal. Did Kohli ever look troubled? Kohli can be out of form in every tournament, but give him Pakistan and suddenly he's back in the form of his life. It's the same story every time. He thrives under pressure. Take the 2024 T20 World Cup final, for example. And this game was no different. It was a remarkable, well-composed, perfectly situated innings by Kohli. An amazing comeback, leaving a mark on millions of minds and hearts. Babar Azam needs to learn how to deal with pressure. No, I take it back. He didn't learn. He won't learn. He's been playing for God knows how long and hasn't learned. Either he needs to go back to domestic cricket, which is a whole new level of chaos, or he needs to make himself available for league cricket only. Enough is enough. Pakistan's obsession and dependency on one player is appalling. First it was Saim Ayub, whose injury is a blessing in disguise, or else Pakistan may have won a game or so, and through Saim's contribution, the other 10 players would have remained to cause more misery to the fans in the future. Then there was all this PR and social media frenzy over Fakhar Zaman. Do we need to see him cry? Some time ago it was Naseem Shah, I think Shaheen too at one point. Are we watching a soap opera? Enough of these melodramatic, emotion-triggering, sentimentality-seeking videos coming out of the Pakistani dressing room. If we want to watch tears, there's plenty of subcontinent TV shows going around. Thank you. Although Pakistan announced their squad quite late, they had to call a replacement after their first game due to Fakhar's injury in the form of Imam ul-Haq. Imam ul-Haq's stay on crease, his batting, and the way he got out summed up Pakistan's planning for the game and the tournament. Haphazard, nervous, and clueless. It was just embarrassing. Imam's wicket was nothing short of a disaster, allowing the commentators to have a go at his family too. I mean, sure, it can be funny, but these commentators should see it is in their living room or personal platform. Just a couple of weeks ago, Sunil Gavaskar was going at Rishabh Pant during the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and now this with Ravi Shastri and Wasim Akram in the middle of an ICC tournament with millions of people watching. Saud Shakil gives the impression that he's a heartbroken lover who's trapped in the thoughts of his long-lost love and tragedy and just not there mentally. Didn't he give the impression of Romeo or Gatsby, or for my Indian fans, what's the word I'm looking for, Devdas? The pathetic, half-hearted shot he played after sticking around on the crease and constructing a painfully slow partnership alongside Rizwan, then the drop catch on the field. I don't know where his mind was. Honestly, it wasn't in the game. Mohammad Rizwan's knock in this game was as painful to watch as it was to witness Babar's 60-something against New Zealand the other night. If he struggles this much against spin, perhaps don't play at number 4. Promote someone else up the order. Send Ala up there. His attempt to go big was a puzzle wrapped in an enigma when there were 17 overs left. He and Saud took many dot balls to build a partnership and then both gave it away when it was time to capitalize. The one thing Rizwan was good at was rotating strike, making singles and doubles, but we barely saw that in this game. I don't know what has happened, but the speed at which skill is regressing in the Pakistani dressing room is earth-shattering. Also, Rizwan needs to learn more shots to play and not just think of slogging to make runs. Salute, though, to his captaincy, or if he had no say, then the management, for once again promoting Shaheen Shah Afridi ahead of Naseem Shah. And no one seems to know why. Shaheen couldn't read Kuldeep Yadav and was plumb LBW, but he took a review like he's Michael Clark without even consulting the batter on the other end. The lack of communication is just one example of how disorganized Pakistan's team has become. Shaheen's overconfidence, lack of match awareness, and don't forget, wasting reviews. Sure, Pakistan didn't end up needing these reviews later in the game, but these reviews are for the team. Just an utter lack of match awareness, and he's one of the senior players who has participated in a list of ICC tournaments. Shaheen's approach today was all wrong in the bowling too. After getting Rohit Sharma out, he kept trying to bowl that perfect delivery instead of building pressure. He ended up leaking 40-something runs alone in the first 8 overs of the game. That's not what a senior bowler should be doing, especially in a match of this magnitude. He was rested from Test cricket. Was it to bowl like this? To leak 80-odd runs every ODI? Does it come down to education and lack thereof? You had an injury, sure, then it was mismanaged, sure, then you come back, your speed was coming back now, but what happened to the skill? Why is the skill level regressing? Why are there 5 or 6 players still playing like they did a few years ago? And many of them have forgotten the skills they actually had. Abrar Ahmed was the only bowler who looked threatening with the ball, but yet again, no other spinners were included in the squad. It's baffling. Meanwhile, India's spinners, particularly Kuldeep Yadav, were getting breakthroughs and picking up wickets at crucial times. This is a team that's thinking strategically, while Pakistan continued to make questionable decisions as if they didn't know beforehand that they would be playing in Dubai. For those questioning Abrar's gesture after getting Gill out, well, first of all, that was probably the ball of the tournament. Plus, he did dismiss Shubman Gill, a set batter who was taking Pakistan out of the park, and he got the wicket with no support from the other end while being stuck between a whole set of idiotic pace bowling. Then why would Kohli walk over, shake his hands, give him a pat on the back, and recognize his efforts? At least there was some originality in his celebration rather than just copying his father-in-law. Or is being a social media star reserved for the trio pacers, Babar and Rizwan only? Also, no one batted an eye when Hardik Pandya gestured at Babar Azam after claiming his wicket. That wasn't a friendly send-off either, and Babar was looking good at the time. On the other hand, India's bowling was far from outstanding. Shami's opening over went for 5 wides, and he went wicketless in the game. They don't have Bumrah either, yet they still managed to expose Pakistan's weak batting by including impactful spinners in the team. Pakistan's batting display was was tragic. Khushdil Shah hit the first 6 of the innings in 40-something over. That's how bad it was. Half of the innings were dot balls. Remember all those people who criticized him as bad luck for being a tuk-tuk player? Well, today the entire team was playing tuk-tuk. Rizwan, Babar, Imam, so none of them showed the kind of intent required in a match like this. They were just content to go through the motions. It wasn't even cricket at some point. Regulation catches were dropped when other teams are pulling blinders. Except for 1 or 2, don't think any throw actually hit the stumps, whereas Akshar Patel's direct hit sent Imam ul-Haq home on a suicidal run. Kohli stopped the ball with his gloves when he was at non-striker's end, and if there was obstruction of field, then where were Pakistan players' presence of mind? Shouldn't they have appealed? Didn't see any planning or setup for Pakistan to get Indian batters out. I'm not sure what the team was doing building up to the event. Thankfully, there were no $25 meet and greet sessions, but clearly no one was working on how to tackle the Indian batters. Just go back a few weeks ago to the Border Gavaskar Trophy, where Scott Boland boldly stated Australia's plan to get Kohli out. If it wasn't for that brilliant ball by Abrar, Gill was well on his way towards a big score as well, and they had Shreyas still coming. Did it ever look like Pakistani bowlers were trying to target any Indian batter? Be honest. Bowlers can't even get their line and length right. Forget planning or targeting a batter. This team has no fight left, and don't get me started on the middle overs. There were barely any breakthroughs, no real pressure, and no ability to capitalize on any opportunity. Pakistan's performance wasn't just disappointing, it was frustrating. Shaheen Afridi, Naseem Shah, and Haris Rauf, for all the reputation and experience, couldn't build pressure. Shaheen just seemed hung up on repeating the same ball that got Sharma out. Pakistan's bowlers were giving away runs like it was nothing. They just couldn't make a breakthrough, and it showed. They can say it was nerves and the pressure because of playing against India, they were timid. Come on, they're facing India quite literally every 6 to 8 months in ODI and T20 formats. Where's the professionalism? And is pressure and nerve reserved for Pakistan only? What about India? How many times has Harshit Rana played an ICC tournament and against Pakistan? The whole world could see the gap between the two teams. India, despite their flaws, didn't have to play out of their skins to win. Pakistan's weak batting, poor bowling, and lack of mental strength handed India the match on a silver platter. At the end of the day, this so-called rivalry is fading fast. The gap in class between the two teams is growing wider and wider. And if this is the best Pakistan can offer, then the rivalry is long gone. I'm sure it was really boring for the Indian fans as well. This match wasn't about competition. It was about the brutal reality of how far apart these teams really are. Babar, Rizwan, Shaheen, Naseem, and Haris have played in all of these big tournaments. In spite of repeated failures, none of them have been removed from the team. What will happen now is that lesser known players will get sacked, and these players will still remain untouched. On the other hand, in India, Kohli is there not just because of his extraordinary performances, but also his fitness. Sharma is there for his attacking mindset and batting up front, always coming out to put pressure on the opponents. These two single-handedly won India games not 10 years ago, but quite literally days ago. Whereas I can't remember the last time Babar or Rizwan doing anything close. Those deserving of chance will get 1 or 2 games in random bilateral series, and when questioned, a fast bowling all-rounder will take precedence over spinners when the world stuffed 4 to 5 spinners in their squads. Nonetheless, it is good to see New Zealand and India advancing as the semi-finalists from Group A. Any other teams would have only crawled past these two as a result of an upset or by doing something extraordinary, which unfortunately Pakistan isn't capable of. I can keep going, but I should stop before I completely lose my voice. Let me know what you think, and once again, I appreciate everyone waiting on the video. Share your comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, take care.